Trials and testing. Hebrews 12 says, "My son, do not make light of the Lord's discipline. Do not lose heart when he rebukes you, because the Lord disciplines the one he loves, and he chastens every one he accepts as his son. Endure hardship as discipline. God is treating you as his children. God disciplines us for our good, in order that we may share in his holiness." John 15. "I am the true vine, and my Father is the gardener. He cuts off every branch in me that bears no fruit, while every branch that does bear fruit he prunes, so that it will be even more fruitful." And, we have to endure hardships and trials in our life. And for some, there seems to be more to bear than others, that's for sure. But it remains the truth that those who suffer more will receive a greater blessing and reward for their endurance, both in this life, with the presence and comfort and wonder and glory of God, and also in the future. Because we are the children of God, the Father treats us as his children, and thus he must at times discipline us, that we may grow into respectful and mature children, not spoiled, by which every cry we make the Lord gives into us, but children who honour our Heavenly Father and realise that we need to seek his face properly about the things that we desire and ask for. If we consider earthly children who, whenever they kick off and make a big fuss, the parents give in, that child is spoiled and doesn't really respect their parents. And that child has got no conception of what is right and proper as they grow up. The Lord desires that we share in his holiness and all his glory and wonder, but we need the trials and tests to make us into mature Christians and not immature, childish children. Hebrews 12 is giving us example of earthly discipline, which to me means telling off, sometimes a gentle smack, as it were, for not doing the right thing after being told. And we can think of Jonah, who disobeyed the Lord. He had to be chastened. Indeed, the Lord sent that great fish, it swallowed him up, and we know the story. That was the Lord telling Jonah off or punishing him, putting him back on the right track, which he did in the end. But having said this, I do believe that many trials, if not most of the ones that we go through, it's not because the Lord is telling off us, etc., but rather he's refining us and maturing us for better things, for our better and his glory. And this comes under the John 15 category, as I call it. We have already produced fruit. The Lord wants to see more, and so he will prune us like a plant, so that the unnecessary foliage will be cut away, that the leaves or good sap will be focused on making the grapes. And if the vine could speak, it would say it was painful and why. And the farmer would say, "You're doing a great job. Your fruit is really good, but I know I can help you produce even more by getting rid of unnecessary branches that suck all that good sap, so that you can focus on those grapes." And the Lord will do that many times in our lives. Every trial we go through will help us to trust him more, and thus to know his glory and his presence and his love even greater in our lives. And truly the trials are worth it, and when you know God's presence so strong and so beautiful, so overwhelmingly glorious in your life, you would say so as well. So, example of pruning. The Lord gives us a small test, but it hurts us, and we have to trust. And we pass that test, as it were, that one, and we experience God's goodness, his presence, his glory more deeply. But then we have another test, another trial, sometime again, and we have to trust and this trial was greater than the one that we went through before, but we passed the test because we've experienced it before. We know the Lord is faithful, and by his help we know his glory and his presence even more wonderfully. So the glory of the Lord gets greater, and the honour to him is greater. I personally believe that many trials we go through are more in the context of John 15, the pruning, because we already are producing fruit. and the Lord wants more. And if we have done something wrong and He disciplines us, we must accept it. The Lord does it for our good and His glory. And of course, the enemy will attack us sometimes, and that's another facet to trials and tests. But the Lord allows it, like He did with Job. And we too must continue to trust the Lord through these difficult times, pass the test as it were. So be encouraged. If you're going through many trials, seems like trials more than what other people are going through, and it seems unfair, it's most likely indeed because you're already fruitful and pleasing to God. But He wants even more fruit from you, and He wants to give you greater things in reward for all that you go through. So if you are going through lots of trials and it seems to be never ending, stay close to the Lord, stay faithful to Him, keep going, and the Lord will bless you far greater than perhaps many other people, because you've endured so much.